My name is Fabian Rodriguez. I am an IT analyst at Recast Software. I actually work with computers and do the management. Um, let's see. And this is how I look. So you couldn't probably see me from the other one, but what's up? Thanks for joining. Yeah, so today I'm going to focus on just some features, really low effort and high impact. I'm not going to be really slide heavy. I'm going to try to showcase as much as I can. But I will talk around some of the high level of the items I'm going to talk about, and also some of the requirements, etc. I'm sure you all don't like, maybe you do like slides, but let's see it in real time. So the title is called Filing in the Clouds. You're inside of Intune. What are some of the features that are available to you? You might know, you might not know. I'm just going to give you some of those features at your fingertips, show you what they do, how they look, how to set them up. So let's see. Cool. So on the agenda, I'm going to show you today Windows Lapse, which is essentially going to help us, rotate that local admin password. So that admin password isn't the same. It's kind of a funny story. When I first started, and it wasn't at Recast, it was a different company. I didn't know what Lapse was. I didn't know the function or the like what it was for. So I was getting new computers, and I was just I would get them, log into them. Password was the same for everything, and if you lose it, kind of sucks. It's kind of in your password brain manager, but Windows Lapse is going to help us, solve that problem. So we don't have to remember that local admin password, keeps it unique, right? If the IT admin leaves, doesn't matter. You don't have to go ask them, what's the password for this device? The next one is going to be device hardware inventory. I can't remember if this was introduced in December of 2024 or early 2025. But this is essentially going to give us hardware information of the device inside of Intune. You scope it to what you want, and it's going to refresh at every 24 hours. And then we also have conditional access. I think this is going to be important. I'm only going to cover a small aspect of it, but requiring compliant devices to access like corporate resources, such as like Exchange, Teams, etc. I think this is pretty important just from the impact of it really reduces the risk of token theft, which, if you get phished, somebody, your end user does the MFA prompt, whatever, they can get that token. The person can go crazy in your environment. So, but if we require a compliant device, if they were to grab that token from a non-compliant device, they would get denied. And then also I'm going to cover Autopatch and hot patching. Autopatch, from my point of view, is we get we have different aspects that we can touch: Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Teams, operating system updates, and drivers and firmware updates. Kind of automate that process. And hot patching is, right, I think it's once every 4 months. One of the cumulative updates, quality updates. I'll take a look at the notes. We don't have to restart, right? Don't have to restart. Happy end users. We still get those updates. Happy IT admins. So yeah, let's hop into Windows Lapse. I do want to mention in the new or in the Windows 11 version 24H2, there were some improvements for local admin password solutions. Some that are mentioned here is automatically creating the managed local account, configuring the name of the account. So by default, it is administrator. If you want to call it something like Seattle, you can. We can enable or disable the account. By default, it is disabled. So if you didn't want to leverage Lapse, gives you the ability to enable it. And also we can randomize the name of the account. So, and this is available for people with an Intune subscription, Microsoft Intune Plan 1. So actually, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to hop off this slide. Let's share my screen. Sorry. Let me know if you can see my Intune tenant here. Perfect. All right. So really what we need to do to enable Windows Labs is really three things. We need to enable it inside of Entra. We need to enable the local administrator account with the configuration profile. And then lastly, we just need to go into endpoint security and enable those lab settings. So it's really simple. If you're in a scenario where, an IT admin left your company and they had the same administrator accounts for all the devices, let's get that settled. Right, how do we enable this functionality? So we'll want to go to entra.microsoft.com. And if Brian Mason is listening to this, see, I do have a Windows computer. Gary was giving me crap too.
I mean, it was a Mac session, right?
All right, so on the left-hand side, we'll want to scroll down to devices and we'll go to all devices. And by default, this is going to be turned off. So we'll go to local administrator. Actually, we'll go to device settings on the left-hand side and we'll want to scroll down. So here under local administrator settings, we see a few different options. So if you're in a default environment, this will be set to no. So are these other options. So I'll go over the first one. Global administrator role is added as a local administrator on device during Microsoft Enter Join. If that's okay with you and you accept the risk, and that's totally okay, go ahead and click yes. And you can also, the next one, you also have registering user. Registering user is added as local administrator on device during Microsoft Entra. I believe you can select the members who are local administrators on this device. I personally haven't messed with this one. It's a new one. But the one I really want to mention here is this enable Microsoft Entra local administrator password solution. I'm just going to call it LAPS. Just got to get that big word out the way. I'll call it LAPS for the remaining time. By default, it is set to no, but you do want to set it to yes if this is a functionality that you want to enable. So if you want to go to enter.microsoft.com, take a look at this in your environment. If it's set to no, you got to set it to yes to enable this. So yes.
Back on local admin settings, is that just for Windows devices or all devices, like phones, Mac?
Just Windows. Yep. Hopefully it's something easy like this for Macs soon.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Perfect. So now that we have that enabled, we also need to create a configuration profile that's going to enable the local administrator account. Actually, let's go to endpoint security to see if that is inside of account protection. Let's go create a policy. And this is the functionality that you would do if you wanted to create that Windows Labs policy. So we'll click Windows as a platform. Hopefully Macs are in there next. Profile, we'll do local admin password solution, Windows Labs. We'll go and create. And we'll do NW SCUG next. So we have a few different options here. I'll kind of go over them briefly. So the backup directory, where do you want to save this to? We have a few different options. By default, it is disabled. If you want to disable, go ahead. I would say if you want to read the Labs password, back it up to your Azure AD, or if you want to, Active Directory. But in my case, I'm going to do Azure AD. In the password age, how long do you want this password to be kind of static and then rotate? By default, it is 30 days. that's okay. I'd say work with your team, your security analyst, your CISO to see like what is their recommendation? Do you have any compliance rules to follow? If not, defaults are fine. Maybe they're not. That's up to you. And then the account administrator name, we can enable this to something like something different. By default, it is administrator. But for whatever reason, if you want to, switch it up, you want to have some fun, call it, NW's rocks, something like that. Totally fine too. But my case, I'm just gonna leave it default. I know there's some risks with the naming convention of administrator, but I'll accept the risk. The password complexity, this is where it gets fun. So we have a few different options. And right, we have large letters, small letters. If you're ever configuring if you're ever on a password generator, see a bunch of crazy words. This is essentially similarly what it's trying to do. By default, it is large letters, small letters, numbers, special characters. So it's going to be, a beast of a password. But for Windows Labs, the 24H2 improvements, they introduce password phrase or passphrase. So think small Tom 2, right? Something easy for the end user to see, and also something easy for the IT admin to see and introduce to the end user. So I honestly think this is a really good one from both perspectives of end user and IT admin experience. Right? We could do short words, long words. In my case, I'm just going to do password phrase. And you can configure the passphrase length, 6 characters or whatever. I'm fine with the 6. Password length. I'm not going to configure it since I'm just going to do that password phrase. Post authentication actions. What's going to happen once that user uses that elapsed password? So let's go take a look at some of those options. So we can reset the password upon expiry of the grace period. The managed account password will be reset. That's fine. Reset the password and log off the managed account upon expiry. The managed account will be reset and interactive logon sessions using the managed account will be terminated. Reset the password and reboot. Reset the password, log off the managed account, and terminate the session. Honestly, I believe the default one is, let's see, I think it was this one. Yep, reset the password and log off the managed account upon expiry of the grace period. I think that's just fine. And you can say the post authentication reset delay. So I think by default it is 24 hours. That's kind of long. Work with your security team, see what works best. We could do like an hour, right? Gives the person enough time to use the local administrator account for whatever they need, whatever reason they need. If you're okay with 24 hours, that's totally up to you. And then here's that option where we use, actually, this is a new one that I noticed recently, is the automatic account management enabled. Are we enabling that account? If you were previously, or if you're using or if you're below 24H2, you'll still have to use a configuration profile to enable that account. But here we can target account will be automatically managed. Okay. Actually, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let me go show you really quick. I'm going to open how you can enable the administrator account inside of configuration profile if you're below 24H2. So we want to go to devices, go to Windows, we'll go to configuration. And here I have a configuration profile called enable local administrator account. So I will go over to the configuration settings and we can see, hey, this accounts enable administrator account status. So we'll enable the account so that we can use Labs. If you want to take a picture or if you want to just see this policy. It's under the local policy security options. So, and I did write a blog on this, so I'll also make sure that I post this on the chat. So, cool. And we'll head over back to the automatic account management enabled. So let's take a look at what we have here. The target account will be automatically managed. That's perfectly fine with me. Automatic account management enable account. So let's take a look at this. Use this setting to configure whether the automatically managed account is enabled or disabled. If the setting is enabled, the target will be enabled. If it's disabled, it will be disabled. So target account will be enabled. Automatic account management randomization name. This is something like if you have NWSCUG and you want to add something in the end, like 1, 2, 3, 4. At the next time, you can keep resetting it so it's 1, 3, 2, 4. So it's kind of rotating that name. And automatic account management target. Manage a new custom administrator account. We can, in my case, I just want to manage the built-in administrator account. And automatic account management name or prefix. Use this setting to configure the name or prefix of the managed local administrator account. I'm going to leave this not enabled. So I already have a policy here set with similar settings. So I'll show you this really quick. What I'm doing at a high level is just backing up to Azure AD. My password age is going to be 7 days. After 7 days, it's going to rotate. And let's change this to passphrase so I can show you how this looks. Short words with unique prefixes. Perfect. So let's save that and go back to the setting. And we can use the password length for 14. Post authentication actions, reset the password and log off the managed account upon expiry of the grace period. And then post authentication reset delay for 1 hour. So that local administrator account password will only be active for 1 hour. So let's see it in action. So we'll head over to our computer, Windows VM, connect. And let's see, let's go to Edge and, say we're the end user. We want to go download Google Chrome. Edge, just not for us. Let's go to Google Chrome, switch. Actually, I'm going to do Firefox. I know we can. Oh, sorry. My mouse fell. Sorry. So we'll go to download Firefox. Do our installer.
Are you seeing what you think? Just we're seeing this.
Oh, sorry.
I see the mouse moving, but yeah, clicking on something.
User error. Sorry. All right. All right. Oh. Let me just share the VM. I'm sorry, everybody. Can everybody see that all right? Awesome. So, we deployed the configuration Windows Labs to this device. Close this. All right. It then let me go to Notepad++. This end user is crazy. He's trying to download everything. So we'll go to Notepad++, but download. We'll do go. And let's just go install. So, perfect. Double click. And we see that the end user is not an administrator, so we have to use Windows Labs. So let's go ahead and retrieve that password from Intune. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see everything. So let's go back to Intune. Let's go to Devices, Windows, and Windows VM. And we should see local admin password on the left-hand side. Great. So we see that we got, I don't know if my change synced right away, but we can grab this local administrator password here. Okay, so I haven't, it didn't sync that passphrase right away, but let's just use this as an example, and then I'll come back to show you the passphrase. But essentially the end user, I would use .administrator, and we'll toss that in there. Yep, it's good. Perfect. We can see that we did get permissions. We'll do OK. Do next, agree, next, install, and voila. So I'm actually going to show us really quick, run a quick sync on this device so we can get that passphrase so I can show you how this looks. Because that was kind of a beast of a password. To say that to your end user, and then from an IT admin experience, you're both mad. Like, I gotta tell you this. You gotta remember this. Let's make it easy.
Hard enough with letters and numbers.
Yes. You misspell it, you gotta do it again. Do another sync. We'll give it an Intune minute. So cool. Let's actually go over to that VM, and we can actually rotate this password just in time too. So if we go to the device, for the three dots over here, and we'll do rotate local admin password. Do yes. And it'll give us a quick status over here. So this can also be helpful if your end user is complete with it and you don't want to wait that full hour. We can rotate that password just in time. So. And it's usually pretty quick. Let's see, for a couple seconds. Refresh here. Pretty cool new logo too. So we got to update your documentation. Pending. Let's go take a look, see if it changed at all. We'll go to local admin password. 516. Nope, nothing just yet. Exit device. Sorry, I do want to show you, so we'll give this a minute or two. Just wanted to show you the password phrase or passphrase experience. Bless you. Well, in the meantime, we can go take a look at the next portion of our PowerPoint. So, and I will come right back to this, but I don't want to keep you bored too long. Okay. So yeah, not the best PowerPoint giver, but here we are. So the next one I'm going to cover is device inventory for Windows. Essentially, right, we have all this information on the device. Can we see this information? What can we see? Let's show you. So some of the things at a high level that we can see are like the CPU, the battery info, the encryption status of the device. So if an auditor is asking, hey, is this device is being shown as not encrypted? Can you show me it from a real-time view? It does sync after every 24 hours. So let's go and head over to Microsoft Intune and take a look. All right. And let me show you actually how to enable device device inventory. This is available for you. It's not on right out of the box. You will have to go enable it. But if you have been creating configuration policies in the past couple months, you might have noticed this in the drop-down menu. So let's go over to devices, Windows, and then configuration. We'll go to create, new policy, platform, Windows 10 later. As I mentioned, if you have been creating configuration policies in the past, you would have just seen settings catalog and templates. But what is this properties catalog? That is where we enable enhanced inventory, enhanced device inventory. So let's go ahead and create, and we'll call it NW SCUG device inventory. Here, we'll go to properties, add properties, and here are the options that we can select that we can see from our end users' devices. So we can see things such as battery, BIOS info, CPU, disk drive, encryption volume. As I mentioned, encryption volume, if you are working with an auditor and they're asking, hey, is VM01 encrypted? You can pull this log, show them. Logical drive, memory info, TPM. So if you're wondering, does this device have the proper TPM that I need? System enclosure, OS version, all this information. So you can select everything. Why not? It's available. So click yes, yes, yes. Select all this. I won't select everything, but you'll also see here that it refreshes after every 24 hours. So it's not real time. It's kind of real time every 24 hours. So if your user did encrypt their drive at 6 p.m. on a Friday and your auditor came at 7, like you're kind of got to go find that user instead of going to Intune. But if you sync that at 6, it's encrypted, the auditor doesn't come until 2 days later, should be fine. But it's better than nothing, right? So refresh after every 24 hours, that's fine. So how does this look like? So let's go to our Windows VM, and you'll see a Resource Explorer option under Monitor. I synced this yesterday, and it wasn't 24 hours, so it's shame on me. But we would see things such as the encryption volume, logical drive, memory info. Let's go to the internet and give us a quick overview of what this would look like if Fabian were prepared in time. Right. somebody had a really good this. All right. Yep. So as I mentioned, we would see that information refreshes after every 24 hours. And here we can see the battery info, right? So we can see the cycle count, the instance name, the design capacity, and you would see other pretty good information there as well. So it's available to you if you're in the Intune Plan 1, and you want to find out some information about your devices, turn it on. So let's head over back to our Windows VM. And I selected everything, so you theoretically would see everything. Let's head over back to our PowerPoint. And something pretty nice that I did see about this is that it's going to be coming for cross platforms. So Mac OS, iOS, and Android devices. I don't know when. If somebody who works at Microsoft is in here, if you want to drop it in the chat, that'd be nice. All right, so cool. Let's move forward. What about Autopatch? So I'm not an Autopatch expert, by the way. I'm just gonna give you the high level, and it's really good from what I understand. So you can use this, and it was introduced in April of 2025, that if you are a Microsoft 365 Business Premium user, you can leverage Autopatch. So, and if you are in any of these other tiers, go right ahead. But what's all under the Autopatch hood? What can we patch, essentially? We can do Office 365 apps. We can patch Microsoft Teams, quality and feature updates, Microsoft Edge, drivers, and firmware updates. So let's go take a look at this inside of Microsoft Intune. So we'll head into our Microsoft Intune tenant. We'll need to go to our tenant administration, and you'll see under Windows Autopatch groups. So you will need to create an Autopatch group to roll out these updates. So we can do something like Contoso Autopatch. And by default, you do get two options. You get a test and last. I'll show you a theory, but essentially the test is going to be that first ring of people who get those updates. So I created a group called Autopatch IT, or Autopatch test, which essentially has my IT users. We can just give them the updates, which I was thinking about it last night. It's like, if we are updating our IT users and it brings something, it's kind of a, put it like a kind of a failure, not a failure, but like not a single point of failure, but it's like, if we are breaking our people who are supposed to fix it, just a weird thing I was thinking about. Maybe I'm wrong, but and the last people we want to update is theoretically our executives. So, right, we don't want to break their cycle of patch, or we don't want to break anything. They would be the last people to get the updates. So the first people would be our IT people, and the last people would be theoretically our executives. But what if you want to add a big group or add multiple groups? You can use this option over here, dynamic group distribution. So if you have marketing, sales, and product, you can add them into this dynamic distribution group, right? And allow Autopatch to do its magic. So I'll show you really quick. We'll do Autopatch marketing, and I'll do product. I think I have a product group. Oh. Let's do MMS product, or that I had a random group, so it makes sense a little more. We'll do customer success. So we would add these two groups. Let's see. Let's add application manager phase 1. So essentially, if we did want to break it up into two different groups, the auto patch would distribute, hey, in the first ring, we'll get 10% of your people. In the next ring, we'll get 90% of your people. But in my case, I'm just going to use the static groups, the test one and auto patch. So first, just go crazy on our IT people. Last, want to make sure our updates are fine. Let's see, I'm going to remove these so we can move forward so I can show you. So, right, just showing you at a high level, update types. Here, as I was mentioning, we can target quality updates, feature updates, driver updates, M365, apps updates, and Microsoft Edge updates. So next, go to deployment settings. Here we can see, for feature updates, what do we want to target? Some people are skeptical of upgrading to 24H2, which is fine. So, right, we can just make sure we're just targeting to 23H2. A little more reliable for some people. Totally up to your business and your IT department to make that decision. But it's there. If you do want to go to 24H2, let it rip. For driver updates, do you want to automate the process for all the update rings, or do you want to use different approval methods for each ring? So for test, we can automatically approve them. For the executives, do you want to automatically approve, or do you want to manually review and approve? In my case, I'm just going to, right, totally up to you as well. I'm going to automatically approve. I think that's one less thing that I have to worry about. If it's getting passed through test, you can iron out those things. Go ahead. So, right, try to get it away from manual updates as much as possible. And then you have similar updates for Microsoft Edge. You can use the same channel for all deployment rings, or you can use different channels. So if you want your pilot ring, your test users to get the beta, have them test everything out, that'll be fine. And if you want to have your executives, last group on a stable version, go right ahead. So we'll release the schedules, or we'll go to the next schedule, or release schedules. We can see, right, what do we want to put the update installation? We can see, do we want to automatically install and restart? Let's see, install. Yeah, we can install and automatically restart, or you can change those as well. I'll leave it for default for the test group, and for my last, if you want to, you can change it. You can schedule an install and restart. And then for update notifications, I think the defaults are fine, but you can turn them off or on if you want. I'll keep it default. But essentially, you can see these options here. Same for quality and driver updates. You can see, do you want to release these right away with the deadline of 1? That's fine for our IT users. And if you want to scale back a little bit for your executives, right? Maybe we want to wait a week. Give them some deferrals, deadlines too. So the defaults are fine. They're there just for kind of for you to see, but you can definitely choose what works best for you. And same for feature updates. For deferrals, you can leave it to 0, deadline for 5. Say, work with your team, see what works best for you all. This is just a starting guide. The last for your execs, 7 days, give them a deadline of 5. So, and for Microsoft 365 apps updates, similarly, we can do that as well. By default, the deferral is set to 0 and 1 day for the test. And for the last group is deferral is 1 and deadline is 2. So once those are set, we can go ahead and create. And let auto patch do its magic. And what about hot patching? So we can do that under devices. And let's go to Windows. Go to Windows updates. And under quality updates, we'll want to create Windows quality update policy. So we do hot patching. And here under automatic update deployment settings. We can enable when available, apply window, restart the device, patch without restarting the device. So this is only available on 24H2. So yeah, next. And we can see that Autopatch will do its create an update ring here. We can see the feature update as well. We didn't do anything here. It was Autopatch who did its magic. We can see the feature update there. Same with driver updates. So yeah, and there's also some reporting for Autopatch. So just wanted to give you a high level of it there. And yeah, I think, yep, that's what I had. And